Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have this conversation. I'm always excited to chat with you, Jackie, about this topic. And I'm really excited that we're coming back around again to the definition of star seeds. I feel that it is really like it's ever evolving, which we'll talk about. And in the short period of time that we have been sharing here on this topic, this has been evolving like in this space too. And it's not that it wasn't here already or this necessarily wasn't our perspective, but it's just like taken on a deeper layer. And it feels like it is the quote unquote right time to have a conversation. And then in addition to that, we're just fresh out of the Taurus new moon. We're still in Taurus season. So we're in the Taurus solar season and the Taurus lunar cycle. And there's such a strong connection, at least from my perspective and experience, of like literally connecting to earth, like putting your bare feet in the ground. Like Jackie, when you were at the baseball game yesterday, you had like your legs out, your feet out, and just soaking up the sun and just like having that connection with the natural world around us is really important. And also just establishing, our own sense of security, our own foundation, our own like sense of nourishment. And so we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. And you'll probably see me munching on my oatmeal because speaking of nourishment, like I have to eat right now. So I apologize, but also I'm sure all of you watching
Don't
understand
apologize for
you
taking care
gotta
of you.
do. And also I'm a mom and things are busy. And so I'm happy to be here, like authentically. So
Yeah. It's the human experience. And like that's what I was telling you anyway before we hopped on. It's like, no, like this is life. Like this is showcasing the realness of who we are. Like we are human beings behind the camera. It's not like we're this curated thing. And I think that that's so beautiful to be able to see. And it's actually a breath of fresh air in a world that's full of like curated AI and all of that things. Is like, no, we're human. And like coming back to the importance of taking care of us and nourishing us in doing what we love at the same point. It's like we can be in both realms as well, and it's much needed.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
definitely I feel like you're so spot on when it comes to like no shade on AI. I appreciate AI. I'm not one of those to bash or I don't have like really strong feelings about it. But I think like one of the things that I'm grateful for with AI already is that it is really highlighting the value of human interaction, of interaction with the natural world. And so I have been also able to give myself the grace where, I mean, I'll be making posts or just random things like for social media or for my email list. And now with AI, like I actually like when I make typos or like little mistakes, or maybe it sounds weird the
Shows
way
the
I'm saying
humanness.
it, but it's just me, right? And you can feel it. And so I feel that for me, it's giving me personally the permission to be even more human. Like I can just
100%.
show up. And that's a major lesson that I'm literally learning today is like,
It's like a breakthrough of that because I went through this where like in order to be successful, you have to be curated. You have to give them what they want, which is perfect to the Gene Key Pulse right now. Like I don't want to operate because of what people I think people will see or think or whatever. Like I want to operate from my heart, and that's actually what you want me to operate from. Because I want you to operate from your heart too. I want us to share our medicine, our wisdom, and not just like imitate the world around us of like bring our unique essence, our unique flavor to the world. And like I said, there's no shade on AI at all. I was telling Urania the other day, it's like some of the things, even when we were talking about like what we're gonna name this live, and I was like, I laugh because AI always like I get this because before I was working with a business coach and I would write out stuff and she's like, this sounds like AI and like you should separate and I'm like, but it's not because for me, I frame like I'm like a bridge of worlds. So I'm like, I meet you where you're at. So I'm like, I can see how the world may look at this topic like this. But this is actually what it is. And then like that's what AI does in like almost everything. Like especially Chat GPT. And then I was like, no, but that's really it. And I'm like, okay, so I gotta make sure that I'm like expressing like I did because at first I was like, oh, I can't talk like that. And I said, no, it's not that I can't be me. but it's like the more I'm authentically me, you can tell. Even when I do a comparison like that, you know it's me versus like the generic pieces because there's no surface level with me. There just isn't. Like I try, but
And everyone's looking for everyone's looking for AI. Like I know myself, I can be a gullible person with random things. And what always gets me, which I'm getting better at it, but it will actually be pictures of nature or like things happening with animals. Like I know there's like one viral reel where there's like raccoons like standing on it. Like there's a bunch of raccoons and they're standing on it. I don't know if they're dancing or what's going on, but like to like my daughter's father, it was obviously AI, and other people in the comments were like, "This is AI," and I was like, "Wait, what? Like this is AI?" And then yesterday, so that was like months ago, and then yesterday, I was watching a video about someone like making fun of goats, like mountain goats, because they're like, oh, you know how they're on the side of the cliff and they're up
Mhm.
there for the salt. But then I was also like, because I was looking at the comments and people were like, that's AI. And I was like, wait, is that AI? Like now I don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
and part of it, like I laugh because my son, there's always these little kids that are talking and saying things. It's kind of like what kids probably think in their head, but they like make the kids say it. And it's really cute. And I'd send it to my oldest, and he's like, "Mom, you do realize that's AI, right?" And I said, "I don't care. It's the point of the message. It's sweet."
oh
Like
my
I'm
God,
like that. I'm like AI has its benefits as long. I'm not saying that it's absolute truth. It's like the core of it is good. Like that's what I look for in that space of like the message behind it, the intention behind it. And for me, it's like, which is all relevant to this conversation, is like the starseed essence is like our divine essence, our being, right? Like our flavor of the world gets to be anchored into this human experience in our own unique way. And that's actually what the gene key pulse is right now too. It's like worried about, like we can either be worried about trying to fit what everyone thinks that we should be, or what worried about what they're thinking, so we're dictating our lives around that, or you want to be different and you want to put yourself in a certain label, or you want to be seen as the rebel or whatever, so you start imitating those things of what you think that that looks like, instead of like surrendering to all of that and just allowing yourself to be in your own, the gift of this jinky is your own style, your own presence. And that's not always an easy task in the human life. It's not, like you don't even realize sometimes you're like those little subtle voices, if you're not aware that you're like, that's the voice in the back of your mind of like, why am I doing this? Why do I feel this pressure that I have to post this in a certain way? Like, why? What actually lights me up? How do I feel about me in this? Like that's what I'm anchoring back into, is like, what is the intention of saying this in the first place? And just anchoring in that and allowing it to be, because it's not gonna resonate with everybody, and that's okay, but it will resonate with the right people. And at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for a certain agenda. I'm here to share my love, my light, my wisdom with the world.
mhm. Yeah, which that's when I always love. I cannot not share Bashar, right? But I always love when he mentions, like people get really frustrated with this response, but you know, everyone wants to know their purpose. Like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? And a lot of the time, sometimes they'll go deeper, but a lot of the times they were like, you're the purpose. Like you
Mhm.
existing, you being here is
You
the purpose.
experiencing life.
You sharing how you experience life, you exploring your passions, you explore what excites you, and naturally in that, you know, experience of exploration, you want to share that, right? Like we do have this innate desire to want to creatively express what we're experiencing, what we're feeling, our perspective, our reality. And so essentially like that is the purpose, you being you existing. And you know, that is like also connected to what we're going to talk about, because I think it all also comes back to the sense of like belonging. And that's one of the things Jackie and I say every single time. You'll hear us say, I'm sure you're sick of it if you've been watching it, maybe not, but we say that, you know, it's, you're meant to be here, right? It's not, yes, we have this starseed connection, yes, the term, I can say for myself, of starseed really brought forth a strong feeling, excitement, emotion. And at the same time, it's like I am meant to be here as a human. And I, through the exploration of my galactic connections, I feel more excited and proud to be here on earth, and I feel more inspired to act and explore and just like really dig into the meat of what it means to be a human. So that's like the if you don't take away anything else, like when it comes to Starseed and our perspective, our journey, that's a big thing. It's like you are meant to be here. It's all connected. And
All
when
of you
connections
belong.
are relevant, those connections are powerful and inspiring. And at the same time, we're human, right?
Yeah.
And
Not
so,
to take you away from your human experience.
right. So, Jackie, do you want to share just, your perspective, your
Yeah.
definition of Starseed? Because I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah, so I was sharing with Urania like what comes to me and why the word starseed is super important to me because we're like why do we use the word starseed? We were really getting intentional of what we're creating here and what we're bringing to you guys. And for me like the word starseed, if you break it up, it's star and seed. Star, as we're from the cosmos, we have that divine essence. So whatever language you want to put it from, where we have our galactic connection, our divine connection, like our soul connection, whatever you want to call it, but it's like we're from the stars. We're literally made of stardust, like from a scientific point of view. And so it's like that component plus the seed component. We're here to really be planted and embodied in this human experience, right? And if you look at a seed, it holds the divine potential. Like if you look at an acorn seed, it has the acorn DNA, like the imprints of it all there already. Everything is that it is within there in potential, but it's like you have to plant that seed, and there's moments of where it feels like it's all alone in the dark, right? And then it slowly starts breaking that shell and coming out and sprouting, and like that's how I see our own essence, like our own divine essence, galactic energy, like our frequency, whatever you want to label it as. There's so many different labels to put on that same thing, but it's like we are being planted here on earth to bring our beauty, bring our essence, bring our life, bring our medicine, everything. That's all we are is in this little seed that gets to blossom out. And that is what the star seed like essence is all about, is really being able to take that divine blueprint of who we are and bring it to life through the human experience. And to do that is to embody the human experience. It's not to run away, like we're here for a reason and we're different for a reason. And so like whether you call it starseed or you feel like you're like the outcast, the black sheep, like different, like I'm not, like my husband even says like we looked at the stars. I've said this before on a live. We were watching the fire and we were looking from the stars and he's like I'm not from here, whatever. Like, and it's funny because he's not really like actively in this space. And so but it made me really think is like when you have that, like I operate different and like I know that there's more than just this. Like it's like a deep knowing within you. You always feel like you're like either feel lost or like not belong or just like something is different the way we operate and think in that space. And that's actually a beautiful gift. Like, and that's part of our intention, like we were saying, of doing the starseed work is to really remember your potential, your beauty, your essence, and be able to embody that frequency and anchor it here to change the frequency of the world because that's why we're different. We didn't want to be all the same thing. What does that do for the world? Like we all have unique ways of looking at things, operating at things, processing different things, and it's when we come together, humanity expands. And I'm trying to think of like anything else that wants to be shared on that topic. If there's anything that you can think of that I was sharing
Hmm.
that really stood out to you too.
Well, I know it's like just what I want to add is that, this is not to discredit that connection. As again, I've been on this whole journey probably for longer than I really actually can think of. But like I do have a strong, like this is not discrediting the connection. Like I do have a strong connection with my galactic family, different groups, right? And as we spoke about in previous lives, like, it's kind of like spirit guides too, where they serve a purpose at a certain time. So this group might be more dominant in your life right now, and then it might switch to a different group or what have you. And so that is so powerful and relevant. And we're going to talk about that when we start to get in the Starseed mission and calling. But you can see right now, just in our current environment, in the 3D, you're really seeing this like conversation around the existence of extraterrestrials, right? Like we're starting to, here in the United States, they're releasing documents, things that have also that I've learned have already been public, but it's like more so people are like,
In public
here,
eye.
like it's here, look at it, right? And people are coming forth, military, people are coming forth and saying they've seen things, um and it's just like more in our line of sight, right?
Mhm.
And outside
Our
of like the
awareness.
woo woo. And that's one of the things that I have been hearing recently from different mentors, is that like we know that the world is shifting, is evolving, the frequency is increasing, and for us here, like I'm sure listening to this, you're probably in alignment with what we would call like the new earth, right? Which is just like the earth that is on a higher frequency and like a higher timeline, I guess you could say. But essentially it's like we are, oh, what was I was
Evolving.
gonna say, we're what,
We're evolving.
we're
Like it's not
evolving.
even like a hierarchy thing. It's just we're
Yeah, we're
evolving.
just
And that's how the
evolving.
cycles work. Like
Yeah.
that's human nature. If you look at nature, everything evolves. Like even looking at the tadpole that goes into the padwog and to the frog, like everything evolves, and that's literally why wouldn't the earth do the same thing? And that's how I see that piece.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're seeing it everywhere. And it's very clear that, oh, this is what I was going to say. It's like you can tell that we're really like when things are starting to merge, is when you start to hear like the science community, or even say like the 3D, muggle world, speaking in the same terms
Mhm.
that us woo woo or new age people would say, right? Like talking about extraterrestrials, or like talking about like, I came across an article recently someone shared with me where it was saying, oh, some scientists are studying and, able to see that it's possible that our dreams, when we dream, we are in another reality or something like that. And it's like, I was like, yeah, scientists are always late to the party. Like, yes, we already knew
They're
that, right?
catching up. Mm.
So it's like we are that feeling, that calling of like the star seed, and your desire and connection and excitement around that is essentially, it's time. It like things are shifting where those connections are going to be more prominent, not only in your life, but in the collective, it seems, as a whole. Like I mean, they're saying that extraterrestrials are going to be, at least the hybrids are going to be, we're going to be more aware of who they are. Extraterrestrials have been helping us for like decades when it comes to technology. And so this guidance, this presence is going to be more like prevalent in our lives, right? So it makes sense that it's like the seed is sprouting, as we talked about before. But again, it's like, okay, we're humans, and that's our role as the humans here, connected to these other species, so to say, or races. It's like we're bridging
Mhm.
that separation, and it's helping to really make Earth a beautiful experience and a beautiful place for, spirits, souls, beings that come here to experience this world.
Yeah, and it's just comes back to that same thing as like remembering it's not about escaping and getting back to that. That is our essence, right? It's part of us. We are a divine being in a human experience. And you can say divine, galactic, cosmic, whatever word you resonate with, but it's the same energy, just different labels. And so remembering like we don't have to escape to ascend to be divine. We already are. Like we already are of the cosmos. That is part of our DNA of who we be in that. It's we're having a human experience. That's the gift. That's the gift of this world, is to really truly allow ourselves to embody and feel. And if you resonate with the word starseed, a lot of times like we feel a lot. Like our sensitivity and everything is increased, and which makes us feel different. We operate a little different in that space. It's like that calling, that's why we call it the starseed calling, right? Is like that seed of remembrance is waking up in us. We all have the seed. We're all star seeds at some point, but it's like specifically in this lifetime, like that's awake. And so we are exploring different ways to look at ourselves and understand ourselves and how things operate and how things are connected in that way. I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but like that's
Yeah, I'll add too, as like some, like, not everyone relates to this path, and it's
Mhm.
not, say, in alignment or part of their journey, their experience. And it's like, for those of us who do connect with this, like, we're in some ways pioneers with
Mhm.
this, especially as things are changing. And so naturally, like, again, it brings forth that, like, feeling of being the black sheep, feeling of, like, being misunderstood or an outcast. And that can feel overwhelming, right? Because it's like, you are, like, in some ways it's very purposeful, I would say, because in the act of that, you are kind of being forced to look into yourself and to, like, really get clear of who it is that you are, and who you're becoming, so to say. And it can really feel overwhelming because we're also exploring, like, that ourselves. Like, this whole journey, we're exploring ourselves, and other people will explore it too. But, like, also with starseed individuals, like, who feel connected to this path, it's like, not only are we expanding through, like, within our identity and so forth, our frequencies raising, so that can create some sort of dissonance as well, because as our frequencies change, as it raises, like, we're going to be even more sensitive to our environment. And we're also going to feel the things within our body, restructuring or, like, integrating these new frequencies. And along with that, then we're also, like, downloading the codes, the informations, the technologies, whatever is also part of your purpose and that of your galactic lineage. You're also receiving that information, that energy, and you are naturally going to share, like, that's going to be of service in the human experience for, your community, the collective. And so it can feel really, overwhelming and intense. It can feel really isolating. And I feel like it'll happen in waves, like, once you really start to understand the pattern, or able to recognize, like, the experience, like the wave, because it feels like an energy wave. Like, you're going to have your lows, your peaks, and so forth, and all that in between. And once you're able to be in awareness of that, you kind of know how to, like, soothe yourself, how to, like, work with that energy, which is kind of where the space that I'm in right now. And I think it's really important. And speaking of Taurus season and the Taurus new moon, what's also been coming up is that root chakra, and, like, that being important as far as, like, restructuring our foundation, our, like, as our baseline frequency changes, as it raises, naturally everything's going to feel kind of, like, unstable. And what we have been, like, the old beliefs or the old patterns, those are very, like, illuminating, like, we're aware of them, and also we're having to transmute that, right, and move through that and release what's not serving us. And so all those things going on, it makes sense why, you know we would feel in this state of, like, overwhelm and intense, and, like, what's happening to me, so to say, if you're not, like, fully grounded in what the process is.
Yeah, and I think that that's so important to understand our humanness, like, and understand how this beautiful vessel operates, how and why our mind does what it does. It's not against us, like society sometimes says, like our ego isn't a bad thing. It's the frame of reference that we're looking at it as. If we understand that this is its function to keep us safe, to do these things, like, then you can relate to it differently, right? It's all about understanding, and how to understand is to first meet something where it's at, to understand and see how it operates without judging, to see the intention and the energy behind it. And so once we can understand our humanness, we can then, when we get these beautiful codes, because it's not something we do, it's like who we be, right? Everybody will download this information in the connection, whether you want to call it spirit, whatever, it's always talking to us, whether we acknowledge it or not. Like, it's just innately who we are. And to be able to integrate in that, I think that that's the mission of a star seed. And it's not something we really do. It's who we be. And even in human design, if you look at the or not human design, gene keys. Anyone that knows me, like, that's a foundation of what I do in my work. Just naturally it flows through. But if you look at your profile, you have your life's work, which is more of a conscious thing. Like, it's an essence, a gift that you have naturally, that you walk through the shadow to open up the gift, to have that divine essence blossom out into your life. But then if you actually look at the purpose sphere, there's a purpose sphere. That's who we be. That's innate. That's not something we consciously do. It's just who we are. And like that's how when I relate to what is the starseed purpose or the mission, and like we were saying earlier, it is to experience. It's actually to remember. And that's what the seed is. Like we're opening up this remembrance. Like that's how it blossoms and sprouts. Remember that we are galactic, divine, cosmic, whatever you want to call it, essence, having this human experience, and how to take that energy and anchor it into this beautiful experience called life. And like that's the thing, is like it's about living and being and presence. And with presence, it's like to honor all of the sensations, all of the juiciness that life has to offer. Like all the sounds, all the sights, all of the things, everything, like not even above our five senses, right? And really being able to take and move with the energies and the cycles of life and be back into rhythm. And like you were saying before, it's like well, you're saying something and it's like finding our own path or something like that. But it like what the visual came to me is like finding our own inner rhythm, our own song, our own heartbeat, right? And marching to our own beat of the drum, so they say, like that phrase. Like, and that's what we are doing in this life, is like being uniquely us, and that's giving our permission for like I'm shining my light bright, and that's actually not a bad thing. It's not drowning out anyone else, because it's giving somebody else permission to be all of them. And like how I see it is like Dr. Seuss says, like the true definition of love, I love this, is like my weirdness and your weirdness come together to make mutual weirdness. Like that is what I'm all about. Like let you be you in all of your unique ways, and not worrying about what is somebody going to think. Because for example, me and Urania, like I kept this side of me kind of quiet because it's been judged a lot of times, and like, oh, now she's not credible or whatever, like in this space, and my thoughts are that way. So I'm guarded on like how much I share, to see if it's actually something to be received. If it's not, then that's just for me, right? But that sometimes makes me hold back on something that could be beautiful conversations. And so like when Urania started being brave enough to share a little bit, then I would share a little bit, and then I was feeling her out, like, okay, how woo is she? Like how far can I take this conversation? And then it was like, yes, I found my people. Like we can go like into the depths of the rabbit holes as well, but it's also so grounded in those things. But I love playing in the we don't know. Let's play in the what if world, and like what is like anything we do in life, like a child, right? In the imagination, like maybe this is not truth or real or whatever you want to label it as, but what does it hurt to experience
Yeah.
and
That's-
play
yeah.
and see yourself through a different lens? That's what we do when we watch movies. That's what we do when we listen to music. That's what we do when we watch like the cartoons and like fairy tales, right? Like we've done this innately our whole life, but for some reason we're resistant when it's coming this way, because people are afraid, like, oh, I can't have that label and then I'm weird. It's not about labeling at all. Like, let's just play and just see if this is calling to you, like what's there for you. Even if there's a massive resistance, there's a reason for you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what it is just kind of a remembrance of the permission to just be you and live life and find a space where when the whole world feels like it doesn't belong, you belong here. Like seeing yourself for your uniqueness. Like we don't always have to agree on things. Like, but I have a mutual respect for you, and not necessarily you, anyone watching, right? Like for you and your own experience. Like we come from different walks of life and different things, and there's a reason for that, and there's a beauty in that. And it's celebrating those differences and allowing ourselves not to have to conform into one space, but the love of allowing everyone to be their unique selves and find common ground. That's how I see the age of Aquarius. They're like, oh, everybody's going to be kumbaya and merging. And it's like, no, it's like our own little collective bubbles, but they all intertwine and coexist to a certain point. Like, I don't know why, but that's what it comes in. And like, that's what harmony is. It's not that everybody is going to follow one path and only one way of thinking. Like that's not harmony to me. That's
Yeah.
Stepford Wives, like robots, like you know what I mean? Like I like when people stretch my thinking and give me an outside, even if I'm like, whoa, that's really different. Like I don't know how to like I got a lot of feels of what that comes up when somebody shares something like that. And even if it's something that isn't necessarily how I see or view the world, I'll sit and I'll listen and I'll give it a chance and say, okay, well, that's great for you. Like if it really is something that isn't resonating, that's great for you. I'm glad that you're allowing yourself to express and share what's coming to that's your truth in this moment. That may not be my truth, and that's okay. But you're doing your thing and you're trying to share and you're trying to be you. And I hold great, what's the word? Like reverence for that.
Well, it's funny, you can't really make this stuff up because, of course, in like the age of Aquarius, and we don't really know when that actually starts, what the boundary is. But what we do know is that Pluto, moved into Aquarius a couple years ago. And now, and like Pluto does represent the subconscious, like the hidden realms and so forth, and like the shadow and the fears and like kind of all those edgy places. And it's like, of course, when Pluto is like fully anchored in Aquarius, right? Like it's not going to retrograde back into Capricorn anymore. It's like this is the time where we start seeing stuff about aliens and all this stuff. And Aquarius is literally the alien sign, and like wave your freak flag. And it is like when I think about Aquarius, I also think about that bumper sticker that like it's nostalgic for me, but it's the coexist, and they're all a different like spiritual religious symbols like together to like write out the word coexist. And I'm like, that feels like Aquarius and Pisces to me.
Yeah.
Because Pisces is also that essence of one. And so it's just like you can't really make this up. And I think that, a lot of people will tiptoe around this, probably for themselves, and definitely sharing this in public, because it's like there's also like this fear of losing yourself, right? So you're getting both of these different perspectives. You have people that are really feeling into Starseed and like this whole exploration from the sense of like escapism. And then you have another end of the spectrum where it's like, oh, that's like going too far. Like, we're going to be crazy. I'm going to be delusional. I'm losing my mind. Right. So,
What does that mean for me if that is
right,
true? So I have to
right.
reject it.
So, if you're looking at these two, like, what is kind of like the common factor here? And it's like this ungrounded perspective, or this ungrounded state of being, in a sense. And so, like, Jackie and I are really beginning to tune into like this starseed journey too, from a place of like the chakras or the energy centers, and like the waves of how energy moves through us. And again, the most important, or like the first step really, is to anchor yourself in earth, anchor yourself in your body, in your being. And I can say, from my own personal perspective or experience, and I've shared this with Jackie, like up until I was pregnant with my daughter, which was 6.5 years ago, I was very easily not like, I was disembodied. And it wasn't even like a weird, I don't know, it wasn't like I shunned my body. It wasn't like that. So it took me some time to really come into awareness. And of course, it wasn't until after I was mom. But it's like I would just always be in my head, not in a like crazy way, but yeah, having anxiety, but also like, just getting lost in like quantum physics and like all of these really high things, like
Thinking
high, like
yes. Mm-hmm.
higher chakra experiences. I would be deep into deep astral travel meditations, or like I didn't really do dream work that much, but when I did, it was like the lucid dreaming and like, all the very like heavy, heady things. And when it came to being in my body, like even recently, I was like, it's really hard for me to sit here with both my feet on the ground. Like I like to sit in like with my legs crossed, or one over the other in one foot, or like I'm also one of those people who kind of like stand like, on kind of on
Yep.
the side of your
One
foot,
way
like
in.
yeah. And it's like everything's starting to click as I'm really focusing on the root chakra. And I just like, I am not like a grounded person. Like that's no judgment, but I'm seeing that correlation. And I have had like growing up this sense of always, again, being the outcast, and not fitting in the mold that like my parents or my family wanted me to fit in. And so when you really start to pay attention to these things, it like clicks, and you see, you know, what needs nurture, and really to connect and to have that very like profound authentic experience. It's really important to anchor yourself in your being. Like Jackie said, it's about you. It's about you just existing and being. And what are you? You're a human being. So let's
Mhm.
be human and connect with our home planet, right? And also connect with that and beyond.
Well, and I think that that's the thing is you want to change the world. People are like, I want to change the world. How do you change the world?
Mm-hmm.
It starts
Coming
here.
out. Yep.
So if I don't, if I see something in the world triggering me, how can I look back and see how that same scenario, maybe a different flavor, is happening within me? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the medicine. Because if I shift my frequency and create the alchemy within me, it's a ripple effect. Because our realities, as within, so without, like it is mirrors of what's going on within us, and they're invitations. They're invitations to say, okay, so this is going on. Where am I not showing up for my inner child? Where am I not protecting the children in my life? With it, that starts with me. Like when I see things like that, because that's a big issue in the world, right? That's triggering me because the children are the innocents and things like that. Where am I not protecting my own innocence? Where am I bypassing my own innocence? Where am I making that less? And like that's the journey, and it's not always comfortable. I'm not going to say it's comfortable. It takes bravery and courage to go into the depths of yourself to see different things, and knowing that it doesn't have to mean anything bad. Like, but everything exists within us. Like there's a spectrum. They're not actually one on each side. It's one of the same. And I think that's part of the human experience, is to see that and understand that and create the alchemy and to find the harmony and balance within it all. They
Mm-hmm.
all serve a purpose, and how can we alchemize it to our potential to open up some remembrance within us, that seed, blossom it bigger,
Mm-hmm.
create different fruits. Are the shadows of my life running my life? Or can I actually allow, accept, embrace those parts of me so I can actually open up the gift that it holds instead of running and pretending it's not there? Like that's the work that I love to do. And that's where we're stepping in with these starseed essences, is like Urania and I were talking about it. It's like we're looking at it from an archetypal type energy, but then taking in and actually doing that inner devotion of going through our energy systems. And how you're saying how you felt like you were in upper chakras a lot and not necessarily grounded. And I was explaining to her like the lower chakras are our earthly chakras. They bring us down. They're primal chakras, and like it's divine essence, and the heart is the bridge between them. And it makes sense though when you live in a life, especially if you resonate with the word star seeds and things like that, being different. I don't belong, so it's easier for me psychologically, even if you look at that, to dissociate from the form and be in my own internal world, whether it's through books or stories or fantasy or whatever it may be, whatever our flavor of pleasure and escape is in that space, but not in like our intention was never a bad thing, right? It was always like growth of learning, whatever. Like that wasn't like, it's not about shaming ourselves in that space, but it's remembering, hey, it's safe to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is our home, wherever we're walking, wherever we be, like this is our home for right now. And like that's why for my brand, like the turtle is the symbol. And for the longest time, I'm like, I didn't know why my logo was that. Like I knew that was a spirit animal of mine in that space, but like the more I've gone through my journey and developed and evolved, like I realize it's because a turtle carries her home on her back
Mm-hmm.
wherever she goes in life. She has that inner sanctuary. When the world feels scary, she can come in, recenter, reground herself, and then move forward. And like that's how I see, especially like this work right here with star seeds is so important, is finding safety within ourselves to anchor back into this earthly experience, to truly experience the gift of presence, the gift that this life has. The human experience is so juicy if we allow ourselves to not go through autopilot, but truly to be in that and be a co-creator in the experience
Mm-hmm.
and not a victim to the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about too with the root chakra and that foundation, like one of the major things, because I think a lot of us, when we think about the root and if there's an imbalance there, if there's a block, it's, I mean, yes, it's survival, but then also
Belonging.
with survival, then it's like money and things of that nature. But really, it's like belonging. That's a big thing. And if you look in like books about like chakra healing and so forth, you'll see the different affirmations. And one of them, they generally have something about I belong here,
Mhm.
I'm safe in my body, and so on and so forth. And so that's it. That's one, place to start too. If you really resonate with Starseed um, exploration and you're on this journey for yourself, really kind of reflect and see, how do I feel about being in my body? What is my perspective and my approach? Like what is this calling that I'm feeling, right? Like what's happening on the surface? Is there this feeling of like, oh, I don't belong here, I hate this world, or if you're in that space, like try to peel back another layer and to see, what's lies deeper there,
Yeah,
right? Because it
yeah.
can really go even to your childhood of like maybe someone was like, you were living in an unsafe environment, or maybe someone would always say, "You're weird. What's wrong with you?" That was something that I always got, is like, "You're weird. Why are you so weird?" And it's like now you're kind of affirming those old narratives, even though they're not true, right? You do belong and you're not weird. Like we're all weird. I mean,
You're not enough. That's what, like
humans, right?
that's a
You're not
huge
enough.
core
That's
wound. You're not enough. And then you
that's the worthiness.
literally a self-fulfilling prophecy of those beliefs. And that all starts like that's huge in the experience program, like the free and fully expressed experience, as we go through the different storylines that live in the chakras. And that's kind of what we are infusing with the starseed lens in the work that we are doing, because it's so important to know that and create safety. And like going like, okay, I feel this. Like let's go, why don't I feel safe in my body? What comes up? Like getting like I said, this is not always comfortable stuff, but it's so
And where?
powerful. Yeah, like where am I feeling that and why? And if I look back, and even if whatever comes through, going under and following that thread and seeing where you can go. And sometimes that thread splits in different spaces, and like this is my zone of medicine. Like it's like giving myself the loving, sacred space and tenderness and coming through without judgment and going, okay, so I hit this crossroads, not trusting my intuition. Which way am I going to go? I can come back and go the other way later, but it's like just allowing myself to understand myself and go deeper without making me bad or in that space, and still honoring those are human feelings. They can be there, but going, what if it wasn't? What if this is just part of being human?
Mm-hmm.
What did this learn? Like, what did I learn from this? Because everything has a gift in it. Every shadow has a gift. Every opportunity has a silver lining. And we're not saying cupcakes and rainbows, toxic positivity. It's going, yes, I see the severity of this and the hurt and the pain. And how can we alchemize that? Not getting rid of it. Alchemy is not getting rid of. It's not saying poof, magic, this is no longer exist. It's taking that raw components and transforming it into something beautiful and powerful for the next chapter of your journey. Like that's what it is. Like if you look at the word alchemy and what it actually means is to take something ordinary metals, and turn them into gold, is what it was. Like something precious, something treasured. And that's how I do like my inner devotion with everything is I'm going to take this raw material that is presented to me, that life is presenting. This is the life experience. And how can I sit with it, honor it, understand it, love it to the best of my ability? And through that, automatically creates this alchemy of allowing it to be the treasure that moves forward.
Mm, yes. I'm in that process right now. Yeah, I mean, and it's so beautiful. I'm really excited about this journey, this next part of the journey that we're going to be sharing. Because it's really, again, it's like for me, I'm just thinking about these energy centers. And again, I'm sure a lot of you that probably resonate with Starseed, you really are just like your crown, everything, your third eye is open. And in some ways, like in order to connect with that, it kind of has to be like a lot of people, like I know a few people that even they're even spiritual, but like they can't go there. They literally can't, right? And so not to say that there's a block per se, but it's just not open in that, like in that way, right? And so really to be drawn into starseed exploration, it's like you definitely have like an open crown, an active crown chakra, third eye. And again, it's really important, and I'm learning in my experience to have that like grounded balance, like the lower chakras, because it's like you are bringing in all of this energy and this like wisdom and intelligence, and where is it going, right? And this is a part of being human, because it's going to channel through and down into the earth, right? And that's a part of like us connecting with the galactic family. And with that, like we're the bridge here, like when
Mhm.
it comes to the experience on earth. So how do we express that with our own filter, our own perspective, our own ego, right? And how does that like shift and change the outer world? And so it's important to like, that's kind of essentially our role, right? A part of our Starseed mission is to be that specific bridge, right? And so it's really important to be grounded, because if you're not grounded, like, where's it going?
Think
Right?
of
So
it like a tree.
clear channel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like your upper chakras are the canopy of the tree, like the branches and in that. But if you have this massive open branches, but your roots aren't very deep, that tree's tipping over. Or your roots are super shallow. As soon as life blows a little storm, that thing's coming up off kilter. But if
exactly.
you can create those roots and anchor deep, you can bring and be the bridge between earth and the sky. And you can bring that together. And so the deep earth wisdom can come through and out to the cosmos, and the cosmos can come in and into the earth. Like that's the thing. And it's like this breath back and forth of life.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited of what's to come in the collective. And as we were saying, what's happening within us, we're seeing it happen externally. And that's happening also in the collective too. And it's like, as you mentioned, the things going on, like what we don't like as far as when it comes to children and even women, you said before, that's like the divine child within us and the divine feminine. And what's our relationship to that, right? And what's going on in the world, we're seeing like the shadow and the fears being played visibly. But then also we're seeing the other end of the spectrum where, there is support coming, and there's also these different communities. I'm sure if you're watching something about Starseed, you are connected probably with some sort of spiritual community, or you're having that spiritual awakening, right? And so we're seeing these different like extremes in our external world, and that can be really destabilizing in itself, right? And so again, the first place to come back to is your home, is your own foundation, your own sense of worth, your own personal security. Because like once you are in touch and grounded with that, then it doesn't matter what people say about you, right? I mean, yes, we're human, so it might like nudge us
Yeah.
and shift us a little bit, but
It
you
doesn't
have,
have to unroot you.
right. It doesn't have to completely destabilize you. And so I'm really looking forward to exploring, this starseed journey from this perspective and this point of view, which is like what inspired, the title of this chat, the new era of starseeds, because that we're really um feeling inspired to shine a different perspective, shine a new light on what it means to be starseed. And like now is the time where we're really going to be growing and evolving into what this means for us on an individual level. And that doesn't mean you're not doing other things too, because again, we're human beings, right? And so we're not just one thing, we're multiple things. We have multiple things going on. So that multidimensional experience too is right in there. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And that's what Urania and I are cultivating. We want to create a starseed community of like the unites the weirdos type type space, right? Like of all of you is welcome, and be a space to share like what is going on. And as we are activating and we're going through this experience, like we're not alone, because it can feel lonely to be different. But guess what? We are all different in a different way. And even if we say we're not different, that's because we're living in that imitation, because we're designed to be different. That is literally, our DNA is not the same. Like every single person's DNA is different because we're meant to be different. Like in that space, yes, we have commonalities, but that's the community that we're coming through and saying, "Hey, I want to learn and grow and experience life and understand this life and myself more and more. You do too. Awesome. let's come together and let's share and let's be together in that space and grow with each other.
Mm. Awesome. Beautiful conversation as always. And yeah, so we'll be back next month with another live chat with you all. And you can find our websites via the description of this video. Our Instagrams are there too. Feel free to comment, ask your questions, share your thoughts and perspective. We would love to hear. Do you want
Absolutely.
to add anything else, Jackie?
Just keep being you one step at a time. And in those moments that life feels a little heavy, just remember to breathe and anchor and come back home.
So we'll take
See
care of
y'all
you.
next month.